Welcome to another episode of Agent versus Lender, and today we have with us Jace Gillies. No, I
Gillis.
said Gillis. I knew I was going to say that wrong. Gosh
It's all
dang it.
good.
So Jace Gillis with Utah Life Team, and so tell us a little bit about the team you're on and how long you've been in the business. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so I've been in the business a little over 2 years. 2021 will be the start of year 3. I've been with the Utah Life Real Estate Group basically since day one. I was solo for maybe 24 hours. And then I actually put a house under contract my first official day in real estate. Had no idea what I was doing. And the only person in the office at the time was Spring Benson. And she assisted me on the contract. And long story short, convinced me to be on the team. And it was one of the best decisions I've made in my career. And it's been awesome ever since. So we're one of the top producing teams here in Utah. We cover basically the whole state, and just central location is in Farmington.
Well, you know, and if you could have picked any mentor, Spring Benson is probably one of the top mentors in the state. She's just like on point. So,
Yeah.
so congratulations
Thank you.
for
Yeah.
picking that team. That's awesome.
For sure.
So where do you cover? You're mostly Davis, Salt Lake.
Yeah, so I do a lot of in my home county of Davis County, and then actually a lot in Salt Lake County too.
Cool.
So that's two of my main, and then I do dip into Weber County also.
Okay, cool. So northern Utah,
Yeah.
kind of stuff. Top of Utah, kind of stuff. So okay, cool. Okay. So let's just jump into some meat and potato kind of stuff. Let's do that.
Potatoes.
So you've been doing well, especially for being in just a couple years into the business. You're like really killing it.
Yeah.
So tell me about what took you from that zero to, I'm not going to tell what numbers you're doing, but I just know that you're the real deal. You are really closing quite a few, and for 2 years you're doing really well. So tell me what are you doing? What is it that's taking you from that zero just a few short years ago to doing really well today?
Yeah. So I learned early on not to be a secret agent, if that makes sense.
It does, totally. I do. Well, tell us. I know what you mean by that, but
Yeah.
tell us what you mean by a secret agent.
Meaning I should never run into anyone that I know in my circle or my life, or really anyone that is ever going to ask me what do I do for work, or doesn't know what I do for work. I don't want to be a secret agent, so that's what I mean by that. So I learned that early on, that it's really just letting everyone know who I am and what I do. So early on, I really utilized social media. I mean, that's the best way to tell everyone, large groups of people, what I do, to put out my personality and to offer my services through there. And really, I just saw from a lot of my mentors that a lot of the top producing agents, no matter how many deals they're closing, were still prospecting every morning. So that sunk in me deep, and that's all I did. I was the first one at the office, the last one to leave, and still am. And that's just what I do, and that's just setting my schedule. So I'm just going really hard on social media still every single day, and calling a lot.
Cool. Well, let's talk. Okay. Well, let's talk about social media, since that's really the big thing today. So, where are they going to find you? Which social media channels are you using?
Yeah, so I'm on Facebook and Instagram, and I just started a YouTube channel that I'll be doing a lot more on too. But that's all new for me, so I'm starting that. But mainly Facebook and Instagram.
Cool.
Is what I'm doing.
So, are you doing any paid advertising, or is it mostly just all organic stuff?
So right now it's actually all organic. I've done 1 or 2 paid ads, but really not a lot. I just am very active on it. I have some tactics that I do on it, but I'm really just posting 6 to 7 times a day between 2 platforms. Yeah, which isn't, believe it or not, which is not enough to where what I should be doing to really get success from it. So
That is a lot.
It is,
So
yeah.
you are. And when you say active on social media, you're not kidding, because you
Yeah.
are 6 or 7 times a day.
it's all day basically. And I use social media for work. It's kind of my job. Is Facebook should hire me essentially for being on so much. But yeah.
Well, cool. Well, they're going to reward you with, if Facebook if you said should hire you, well, they're going to reward you, because if you're on it that often and you're that active, then you're going to be getting the views, and
Totally.
obviously it's something working for you.
Yeah. No, for sure.
So cool. So what is it? So you said 6 or 7 times a day postings. Is that you're doing your own postings? Are you using a posting type? There's things like I'm drawing a blank on some of them.
Like apps to help you
Yeah,
make
like
posts.
Hootsuite or some of those other ones. Are you using an app to schedule those? out?
So I don't have anything scheduling. It's just kind of I just know I just need to keep posting. There's a huge misconception out there that people are going to be annoyed or thinking you're too salesy or posting too much. The algorithms, I mean, you're probably only reaching 20 to 100 people per post. If you have 5,000 friends, that's a very low percentage that are actually seeing one post at a time. So I do design my apps on Spark Posts, so I can create a pretty looking ad, and then something called Mojo, which is specifically for Instagram and Facebook stories, to make a little commercial on there of myself. But I at first I honestly would just set alarms when I first started to post 6 or 7 times a day because I use the business feature on my Instagram. I noticed people were coming to my page, which is a personal page, at 9 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 6, and 9 at night. So that's when I post, when people are always coming to my page. For some reason, they're coming, but that's why I do it.
So 6 o'clock, 8 o'clock, and 9 o'clock?
So 9, 12, 3, 6, and 9.
I'm actually sitting here, so if you can't see me and I'm pausing, that's because I'm actually taking notes.
Nice.
So, you set an alarm and you posted, like you just
Yep.
really got on and just posted.
Just posted, yeah.
But you're using an app now to help you schedule. Is that what you're
So no,
doing?
I
Not
just
scheduling.
I just have it. It's just routine now, where I know I need to be posting that many times a day. But the only apps I use are just to help me design the actual post.
Okay, so it's just to design the post.
Yes.
Are you posting like personal stuff? Are you posting business stuff? Are you probably a combination of?
Yeah. So of course it's not all real estate, right? But I'll do half and half, personal and real estate. So about 3 real estate posts and 3 personal posts. So I have 2 daughters and a wife, so I'll post stuff we love to do. We all love eating at good restaurants. So we'll post stuff like that and just trips we go on, and then the rest is definitely real estate. So the feedback, the reason I do that is because I want people to be able to know me before they actually get to know me, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
So
totally.
a lot of the feedback that I've gotten from deals that I do get, which I mean, Instagram and Facebook's about 70% of my business. The feedback that I've gotten from my clients that meet me from there is they feel like it's less scary to approach me. Some people are nervous to reach out to real estate agents sometime for help, but they feel like they get to know me before they actually meet me. It allows them to just reach out and I respond instantly and we set up a meeting.
Yeah, and that's what I love about social media is that people can meet you before they meet you.
Yeah.
And so, I've had people come up to me and say, "Oh, hey, Ron," and they like talk to me like they know me, and I'm going, I don't have a clue who this,
Yeah.
I'm friendly and I talk to them, and eventually, well, I'll get around to either recognizing or just saying, "I'm so sorry, I'm just drawing a blank,"
Yeah.
But it's just because of social media and podcast and different things like that. So
Totally.
that's cool. So
Yeah.
so that does work.
It does,
that's
for sure.
You mentioned one thing that piqued my interest. You said that you post on a personal page and not a business page.
Yes.
Why do you do that?
It's something I learned very early on through agents I look up to in the country. One of them being Ryan Serhant. He's an agent in New York, one of the top brokers there. Tom Ferry. There's no right or wrong to doing a business or a personal account. I just it goes along with people knowing me before they get to know me, and they see that I'm not just doing real estate. That's not my only thing I do in my life, but I have a family and I do that. And rather than just having a business page reach out to them, it's me. Yeah. So that's just why I went personal.
I've had both.
Yeah.
I've had both business and personal, and quite honestly, there's not even a comparison between a personal page and a business page.
Yeah.
Because people, mortgages are boring. I just gotta, they just are. There's not a whole lot, unless you are ready to get into that buying mode. And real estate may be the same way. Real estate's a little bit better because people like to look at homes.
Yeah.
So they like to look at pictures of homes, especially if they're kind of cool. So you got an advantage there, because people can see those. But on my side, they don't like to see documents and shaking hands and so unless you're in that mode, they're not going to be on a business page. But on a personal page, they will, because I do some pretty cool stuff. I have some fun, and
you're a pretty cool guy.
Yeah, well, thanks. So we post that personal stuff, and I've just found there's a huge difference in the interaction that I get on a personal and a business page. You find the same thing?
Totally, yeah. Way more interaction, and it's easier. I mean, I feel like people are it's less threatening for them just to reach out personally and message me rather than going to a business page and finding where to contact me. They can just contact me directly.
Yeah, totally. Well, on a business page, you know that if you contact somebody on a business page, somebody's calling you to sell you something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So if they contact me on my personal page, they can ask me questions and not feel like, oh, Ron's gonna sell me, try to sell me something. So it just makes a difference, just that psychological thing. So that's what I found. Maybe I'm doing it wrong. I don't profess to be a social media wizard at all. But that's just what I have found.
Totally. Yeah, I found the same thing for sure.
Okay, cool. So you also mentioned that you're the first one in the office and the last one to leave. That's a pretty healthy. Well, that's a pretty strong work ethic. I'm not sure it's healthy.
Yeah, it might not be, right? For sure.
But it's a huge work ethic, and I think people that are willing to do what's uncommon get the uncommon results.
Yeah, exactly.
And so you're doing something that's uncommon. You're there early in the morning. I don't know, what time do you get in the office?
So I get there usually around 7:30 because you legally can't call till 8, right? So I start my calls right at 8, but it really all starts with what I do before the office. I get up at 5 o'clock. The first thing I do is go to the gym, listen to a podcast.
I could tell. When you walked in, it's like, this dude works out.
Oh, man, thank you. You need to tell my wife that because I need to look good for her. But the reason I do that is because if I can even beat the sun up, in the daytime, then I'm already winning. By the time I start my calls, other agents are, waking up, but I've already taken care of myself, working out, fed my mind, fed my body, and I'm prepared. I've done a little bit of role play before my calls, conditioned myself kind of like an athlete does before going to a game. And by the time, most agents roll into the office, I've already talked to 10 people that they could have talked to. Is kind of my mindset behind it. So if I can be the first one there, I'm going to have a lot more success as far as getting to these people first that need help buying or selling a house.
Yeah, good for you. Yeah, that's awesome. And I'm glad you mentioned that it's not like, I get up and run to the office. And, I get out of bed at 7, I'm at the office at 7:30. Because most people that are successful are doing the same thing. Yeah. They're getting up, they're reading, they're doing something as far as whether it's at the gym or at their house, or whether it's yoga or lifting or whatever it is, getting on the treadmill or running outside. It's all important stuff because that all feeds your body, and that also feeds your mind too, keeps your mind healthy.
Totally. And I found too, I like to think of it as a slingshot. When I'm working out and waking up early, I'm pulling that slingshot back and it just slingshots me into my day. I find when I do have a perfect morning like that, or a perfect morning to me, right? That it's very hard to have my day not be amazing. It really is. Like if I have my workout, my mind's trained, I'm conditioned, everything seems to go really good that day.
So what time are you wrapping up at the office?
Yeah, so at first, my back was against the wall. I actually, just backing up a little bit, when I first started, I quit my previous job and went right into real estate. Had about $11 in our bank account.
You did an all or nothing thing, didn't you?
I burnt the boat.
You burnt the boat. Good
Yeah.
for you, man.
So at first my wife knew I had to make it happen, so I was there until I legally couldn't call people anymore. But now that I have, a family and all that, I try to cut off work unless I have appointments, and showings and stuff like that at 6 o'clock, and then specifically just focus on my family the rest of the day.
Good for you, man.
Yeah.
Good, because I know that all of us have our phones with us, probably, more than we probably should.
Yeah.
And but I don't know if you take calls after that or not. But good for you for having a time when it's time to stop working.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Most of us
that'll be the unhealthy part, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, it would be beyond unhealthy. So good for you. So when you're making that many phone calls, it's just like that can get really tedious. So I'm assuming you have some kind of dialer or something. So what do you use?
So I use Mojo Dialer.
So tell us about Mojo Dialer.
Yeah, so it allows me to so being on a team, we have a team website and our own personal websites, but in our team's database we have thousands of people that have been on the website in the past and recently. We're able to pull from that list, plug them into what's called the Mojo Dialer. So I put in 900 names in there. It allows me, instead of hand dialing one name at a time, I can call 3 people at a time. Mm-hmm. And how it works is, if 2 people answer, it'll answer the first one, and I talk to the first person. If a second person answered, it has a recording. It's kind of funny because it's a recording of me saying, "Hey, I can't hear you. I'll give you a call right back." And the moment I'm done with that first call that I'm talking to, it automatically calls that person that I said I was going to call back. To them, it was actually me, right?
Yeah, right.
So it allows me to talk to a lot more people rather than just dialing one, typing the next one, typing the next one. So it saves me a lot of time because time is money, and just allows me to literally talk to triple the people rather than just, again, if I was single dialing through 900 people, it would take days.
Yeah, I've used one that's called Phone Burner,
Mm-hmm.
and what it does is it calls one person. So you load in all the names and all the phone numbers, and it calls one person, and beforehand you've set up a voicemail.
Yeah.
So if it goes to voicemail, then you push a button and it starts leaving that voicemail, and it starts calling the next one.
Yeah.
So you could literally be leaving 3 or 4 voicemails,
Mm-hmm.
and then the 4th or 5th one pick up, and then you talk to that one.
Yeah.
So it's the same kind of same
that's
kind of thing,
awesome.
just a little bit different, but it's
Totally.
called. So you use Mojo Dialer, and I've used Phone Burner. So those either one would work for.
Maybe we should make a new one and just combine the two, right?
Right. That's it. There you go. Yeah. So cool. So that helps you be far more efficient, which is really important during, especially in dialing. You have to be efficient because you can burn up a lot of time.
Yeah.
Like a ton of time making dials.
Exactly.
So good for you on using the technology, because that's really important.
For sure.
So what else do you do?
So, the way my day is structured is from 8 to 12. That's when I'm calling. There's 0 distractions. I'm on that Mojo Dialer for about 4 hours. I don't focus on clients I have during that time. My wife knows not to disturb unless it's really important. I've set the standard with that too. And my teammates also know that's when I'm calling. And that's kind of the standard on our team too, is to do that, so everyone's kind of doing the same thing. So I'm calling for 4 hours, and then I switch hats to nurturing the clients I do have right after that, from around 12 to 1:30, and I'm following up with clients. And I've gotten that from the people that I've called and reached out on Facebook and making sure their needs are met, setting appointments with them, getting them all ready. And then the rest of the day is for showings and appointments. If I do not have showings or appointments that day, I'm back on the phones from 4 to 6, and that's when I usually call expireds.
So tell me about expireds.
Yeah. So expireds are awesome. I really enjoy them. The reason why I kind of found early on, again, from mentors, that I had to call them is because a lot of agents are not calling them. There is and there isn't. We're in a crazy market right now too, where houses are selling in a day or two, and there's kind of a mindset of there's no expireds. But that's kind of in people's heads because there is expireds. There still is. There's always going to be expireds.
Yeah, I would have thought that if one of two things.
Yeah.
So either there aren't expireds, or if there is, either what's wrong with the house, or is it just way too overpriced?
Yeah.
So,
exactly.
And you're probably finding that there's other things that may be why they're expired.
There's of course always the overpriced and it didn't sell. There's something wrong, or maybe a fallout with the agent. But I like calling them at night because those that do call expireds are calling in the morning, and that's when expireds are notorious for being a little grumpy, right? Because every agent's calling them. But in reality, it's probably 5 or 6 agents actually calling them. So I found when I call from 4 to 6 or the evening times, they're a little more settled down. They're not getting really calls anymore, and I just come in and kind of save the day.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Awesome. So when you're calling expireds, I'm assuming there's some kind of scripts. I think you had mentioned to me earlier that like you had a script but you didn't really use it. So
That's what I like to do. Yeah.
Awesome. So when you're calling expireds, I'm assuming there's some kind of scripts. I think you had mentioned to me earlier that like you had a script but you didn't really use it. So
So my first year, I was calling expireds, but I lost out on a lot of opportunities. I was wasting time because throughout my life, I've gotten far in what I do, but not far enough with my personality, my charisma. But that's not that'll only get you so far, right? So I was using kind of a script, but putting in my own personality, and I was using my personality to get there, so I wasn't really using a script. So the moment I started using a script was actually this year, like in July, so not that long ago.
Yeah.
And since then, I've been able to help out 9 expired since then. Just from using the script. So I would get some before that, but it was my conversion ratio, and that was awful. Doesn't mean my personality is awful though. But the moment I started using the script, it just was better because it's asking those right questions, and it's more about the client rather than just myself.
I find because I do the same thing, because I've done this for so many years, that I find myself winging it, and I find myself getting off of my scripts, and I find my conversion rate start to drop. And I go, why is my conversion rate dropping? And I start thinking about it. It's just like because I'm deviating from the scripts.
Yeah, exactly.
And sure, and when you have scripts, they're kind of, I find that they're kind of a guideline because you can't read them because people know that you're reading them.
Yeah.
And so you take that script and you kind of internalize it and make it your own.
Exactly.
Put your personality into it. But when I deviate from those scripts and just say, oh, this might be a better way, it's just like, I see my conversion rate drop, just like what you've seen.
Exactly.
So, what's an intro? Give us an intro to one of the scripts. What does that sound like?
Yeah. So do a little role play, I guess?
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
Okay. So ring ring.
Hello.
Hey, is this Ron?
This is Ron.
Hey, Ron. This is Jace with the Utah Life Real Estate Group. How you doing?
I'm doing good.
Awesome. That's great. Hey, the reason for my call is I noticed your house had come up on my computer as an expired listing, and I wanted to see when you plan on interviewing the right agent for the job of selling your home. That's kind of the intro. And then I just go on from there and asking the right questions of, where you guys planning on moving to once it did sell, stuff like that. So that's the intro, but it's really good. It's kind of bold a little bit.
Yeah, it is bold.
Going back to it, when you plan on interviewing the right agent for the job of selling your home, and they're in their mind like, well, I don't know, are you the right agent? So
yeah, right.
But it's really good.
Really good. I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. So I don't know if those that are listening, if you didn't take notes, better go back and listen to that again.
Rewind it.
Rewind.
15 seconds. Yeah.
Rewind. Yeah. So, I don't know. Is there anything else that you might that you think that might help agents out there that you might want to share?
I would think the main thing is the success I've had. I'm nowhere close to where I want to be, but I have had a lot of success in my career so far. And I think a few key points are being consistent, following a schedule. Schedules are huge. If it's not on your schedule, it does not exist, and it's not going to happen. You just have to have that mindset. And even down to the point of scheduling family time. If you don't have a schedule now, my advice would be to, get Google Calendar. or get a planner and schedule family time first always, and then work around that. That way, when you're with your family, you're focused on your family. When you're at work, you're focused on work. So, kind of my schedule that I do want to share with you guys. I shared a little bit about it, but something that I've learned and the advice I'll give is you have 3 hats as a real estate agent that you wear as a business owner, because you are a business owner and you got to think of yourself as a business owner. Is you have the finder hat, keeper hat, and the doer hat. And you have to wear all 3 of them throughout the day, but you cannot wear 2 at the same time or you're not going to get anywhere with it. Finder hat always has to be first, in my opinion, which is prospecting, finding business. If you don't do it in the morning, we're all human, you're not going to do it at night. You'll think of every reason not to, right? To do it at night, because the evening should be, again, with family and with your clients showing houses and appointments and all that. So finder hat is always in the morning. I suggest 8 to 12 or 9 to 11, whatever you want to do. 8 to 11, 9 to 12. Right after that is when you put on your keeper hat. Your keeper hat is keeping the business that you have found, right? So that's moving people forward to meet with you or to go under contract or to get their credit up or anything like that. It's just maintaining the business and keeping those people you have, doing your follow-ups, and really following up with these people until, honestly, sounds crazy, but follow up with them until they die, go to their funeral, and get all their family as clients, right? So it's kind of intense, right? But follow-up is where you can make really good money in this industry. Those 2 new real estate agents, you can make really good money in this industry prospecting, but where you really make your money is the follow-up. So I have my philosophy of follow up, follow through, and follow back. So always follow up. Follow through is do what you say you're going to do to these clients. If you say you're going to send them homes or do this, make sure you keep your word. And follow back. Just because you close for these people, they're not just numbers, they're people. Right. I take pride in forming relationships with my clients, and they become friends, and I follow back with them. So once they close, I'm always reaching out every 3 months to them to make sure the house is treating them well, if they know anyone else looking to buy or sell I can help, and just really maintain that relationship. So thank you. I would say follow-up is the main thing in this industry. But really following that schedule and staying tight to that schedule and just doing it one day at a time.
So you actually, we didn't talk about this, but you just did.
Yeah.
About your past client database.
Yeah.
So I have a coach, and I wasn't following up with my past client database, and not very well anyway. Yeah. And he told me, Ron, people that don't follow up with their past clients just doesn't like money. Yeah.
Totally, I 100% agree. Yeah.
It's just like I know a guy that his business, and he does very well. Like he's well into 6 figures. He does very well, and he it's 100% past client relationships. Totally. 100%, all 100% referral, 100% past client database. Yeah. So it's do not discount that, because that's so vital. Yeah. And I'm one of those guys that when I finally said, okay, I'm going to do it, and I started calling people, I found, oh yeah, we already moved. Oh yeah, we already refinanced. Oh yeah, we did. It's just like, just totally, it's dang. It's just like, man, it's on my own fault too.
Yeah, and it's really simple. I mean, if you have it again in your calendar, or if you use a good CRM that makes the follow or to-dos for you, then to your client, they don't know you have a CRM and that you have scheduled follow-ups, but to them it shows you care, because you really do, right? I mean, they were so nice to use you as a real estate agent. Why end it there? They're going to be in that house on an average, for the average person, 5 to 7 years, right? Or maybe even sooner. They're going to need to sell again. They're going to have family that needs to sell or buy. Like, you got to utilize those people. Those are gold mines for sure.
The nice thing about getting referrals from past clients is they've already sold you on the referral. Yeah. So you don't have to go back. So like a cold lead or even calling on expireds, you have to develop a relationship. You have to develop that trust. But that's already done for you. Yeah. So it's just really an awesome business model to make sure you're following up with past clients. It's like,
and always asking for referrals too every single time. Yeah. Because that's your lifeblood, or should be your lifeblood with your business for sure.
Yep, and if you waited until the end of the transaction to ask for referrals, you've waited too long.
Exactly. Yeah. And there's, if you don't mind me mentioning too,
Yeah,
referrals, definitely you're right. You don't wait till the end because they're most likely not going to do it. I always set the tone in my buyer or seller meetings that I want to give you a 10 out of 10 experience. And the reason being is because I want to not just help you, but I'm just bold and I say I want to help everyone you know. If you guys are at church or at work and there's anyone talking about buying or selling, you know the guy that's going to help them. And then when we get to, whenever we have a benchmark in the transaction, like we had a great inspection, I'll ask for a referral because they're on an emotional high.
Right.
The appraisal comes in, I'll ask for a referral.
Yeah.
And then right when we close, I actually, for all my closings, I did it today at a closing, I take a picture with them and I have them share it on Facebook and tag me, and I share it on Facebook and tag them. And I give them a shout out on how great a client's in their journey. And on their post, they give me a shout out and how I was serving them. And I always, every time, get a referral from it. I have someone message me every time from it. And a little tactic too, a little nugget for social media with that is, with these posts, every single person that likes the post, I'll go into all those likes, message them, and see if they're in the market to buy or sell.
Man, you are bold. I love it though.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
Yeah, it really works. And people are, again, back to the social media, there's a huge misconception that people are going to think you're too salesy or not. I've never had people like, hey, don't reach out to me. People are always nice, but you got to be bold and you got to show that you're professional.
Yeah.
But there's ways you can organically just get a bunch of leads from social media. And that's, again, back to social media. One of the tactics I do is not just with those closing posts for asking for referrals. Anyone that shares it, likes it, even if it's 50 people, I'll take the time and I'll say, hey, thank you so much for liking my post. Have you guys thought about moving soon, or do you know anyone that is? It's just awesome.
Good for you, man. No wonder you're doing well.
Yeah, it's been awesome. It's
Yeah,
been great.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, that's been a lot of information, and if you guys were listening to this podcast while you were doing something else, you might want to sit down and just listen, because man, there's some scripts, there's some good apps that you might want to use, and some good advice as to scheduling. So so I want to thank you for taking your time and coming in and sharing with us. I appreciate that sharing mentality, because not everybody has that. So
gotta share.
yeah. So thanks for being here. And how do they get hold of you if people want to get hold of you? How do they get hold of you?
Yeah, just call me at 801-318-1240 or follow me on Facebook or Instagram. Instagram is jace.gillis. That's JACE.GILLIES. And then Facebook is just Jace Gillis.
Cool.
Yeah.
And as always, if you guys want to get hold of me or my team, you can reach us on, just call us at 801-628-7667. You could reach us on the internet at thepippenteam.com, and you can find me, Ron Pippen, on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. Follow me there too. So we'll bring this episode to a close, and if you have any questions for Jace, give him a call, and if you have questions for me, give me a call. Thanks for listening.